Hello, my name's Andy. In this video, we're going to give you 10 things which I think are good to know about Mark's Gospel, which is the Gospel that we're looking at throughout this church year. So here we go. Number one, it's the first Gospel written. Matthew and Luke seem to have taken Mark's Gospel and they kind of refined it. Mark's Gospel was quite rough and ready. Matthew and Luke kind of try to smooth out some of the rough edges and add their own bits into it. So the first thing is that Mark's was the first, and therefore it's quite interesting from that sense, because it's almost like the rawest version of what Jesus was actually like. Number two, however, it's later. It was written after a lot of the epistles, the Pauline epistles. They came first. They were the first bits of writing, and this came afterwards. And maybe there was a sense that Mark, whoever Mark is, we don't know, wanted to almost like ground Christianity in the life of Jesus. There's a sense, possibly from the letters of Paul, that Jesus is often perceived in quite a mystical, cosmic way. Maybe Mark wanted to remind people that it was about a person and tell the life story of that person. Okay, number three. Mark's Gospel has a really abrupt start. It just begins, bam, the beginning of the good news of Jesus Christ. There's no sort of childhood, there's no birth. It goes straight in with John the Baptist proclaiming the good news in the wilderness and Jesus being baptized and going into the wilderness for the temptation. It starts really, really abruptly. And it ends even more abruptly. Now, the ending of Mark is something people have wondered about for a long time, because in the purest sense, it just stops in a really odd place. After the resurrection, it says that the disciples fled because they were afraid. And that's it. Most English Bibles have got what's called the longer ending of Mark, which we're almost certain was added way afterwards, written by someone else, because the style is completely different. Now, whether it was meant to end at that point, the disciples ran away and were afraid, kind of a cliffhanger, possibly. Maybe a page has dropped off throughout history, who knows? But it ends really weirdly. So it's got a very sharp start and a very sharp ending. Okay, fourth thing, it's structured really, really carefully. Mark's language is quite rough and ready, but he structures it really, really beautifully. There's a bit right in the middle. You can read in 8:27 to 30. It's the bit where Peter confesses that Jesus is the Son of God. And in a way, everything that comes before that is echoed by everything that comes after it. It's as if it works in a kind of mirror system. The word for this is it's a chiasm. It's structured very carefully, chiastically. Okay, number 5. Mark loves what's been called sandwiches. He'll have a story and he'll split it into two and then stick something else into the middle, which on the surface seems to be unrelated, but actually he's showing that they're all the same thing. So for instance, there's a story of a healing of a 12-year-old girl, and it's split into two parts, and in the middle of it there's a story of a woman who's been bleeding for 12 years who gets healed by Jesus. Somehow Mark wants us to connect those two together. Another one, towards the end of the book, Jesus curses a fig tree, and then a bit later he sees the fig tree has withered, and between that he goes into the temple and turns the tables over. So there's a sense in which we're meant to connect the temple incident with this idea of a fig tree being cursed and withering. So look out for these sandwiches. A story split in half and then another one put in the middle. Seems unrelated, but actually it isn't. Okay, number 6. Mark loves things happening in threes. He has 3 parables about seeds. The passion, the crucifixion is predicted 3 times. In the Garden of Gethsemane, the disciples are told to stay awake 3 times. Jesus is called the Son of God 3 times. The bit I've mentioned where Peter says he's the Son of God in the middle, at the start we have the baptism, and at the end one of the executioners recognises he's the Son of God too. So things happen in threes, so watch out for those. Okay, number 7. Mark makes it quite hard for the reader to know who Jesus is. It's not. He's presented as quite a human being. He's less divine in Mark's Gospel than in the others. Jesus' divinity is kind of kept a bit secret. The demons get it right from the start, and we're given clues here and there, but it's not overt. You could easily miss it. Number 8, the disciples in Mark's Gospel are hopeless. They're clueless. They never get it right. Jesus brings this body of people together. He cares desperately to bring this body of people to follow him and to carry on the message, but they never quite get it. Number 9, there's a real sense that the whole of Mark's Gospel is a battle between good and evil. There's a story told quite early on of there being a strong man who has taken over a house, and an even stronger person comes and binds him up. It's as if the world has been taken hostage by an evil power, and what the gospel is about Jesus coming in and liberating it, setting it free. We see this again and again and again. It's all about Jesus going in and setting things free. Sometimes this strong man represents the Roman Empire. Just as a little aside, at the start of it, when it says the good news of Jesus Christ, the beginning of the good news, the word there, evangelion, was a Roman word which was used whenever the Romans occupied a territory and took it over. They would say good news. The kingdom of Rome has taken over. And Mark has twisted that. Mark was the one who decided that the gospel should be called Gospels. Evangelion means good news, gospel. So all through it, there's a battle between Jesus against evil, binding the strong man. And the culmination of that is in the crucifixion and the resurrection, which is a large chunk of Mark's Gospel. And then finally, number 10, is the idea of the sea and the wilderness. In Matthew's Gospel, a lot of the action takes place on a mountain, because Matthew wanted to say that although the temple had been destroyed, the temple on the mountain in Jerusalem has been destroyed, it doesn't matter. There are mountains everywhere. That was Matthew's kind of overarching point. In Mark, it's different. The action happens quite a lot on the sea. There's lots of sea crossings and in the wilderness. So I've been painting, as we go, a picture to think about Mark's Gospel. And I'll be using this in my church services. This is a wilderness. And Mark uses the idea of the sea and the wilderness because they were both places which were thought to be the domain of evil. The sea was thought to be an ancient representation of evil. When Jesus cast the demons out of the pigs, they go back home into the sea. Jesus tells the sea to be quiet when it's stormy. And the wilderness was a place where evil spirits lived. And Jesus spends a lot of time in Mark's Gospel in the wilderness. It's like this is the battleground. He's on the offensive. He goes to the places where evil reigns, and Jesus battles and takes over. So Mark's Gospel is a battle. It happens in the sea and in the wilderness, and the disciples get to come along for the rocky, bumpy journey. So overall then, Mark's Gospel is a story about battling through tough times. It's about the battle between good and evil, and how we, as clueless disciples, we need to go along and be part of this, to see the work of liberation, salvation happening in the world. So there we go, 10 things that I think is good to know about Mark's Gospel. I'll be making a video each week about the Gospel passage to come for the coming Sunday. I hope you find those useful, but for now, cheerio, bye-bye.